I like Jess Phillips. She's more of a down-to-earth MP and likes to speak her mind. When Conservative MPs were dancing around the subject of Boris Johnson and his parties and trying to defend him, she just said it how everyone else was thinking it.
Lady, I'm from Birmingham and I say it as I see it. Do you think there's any chance that Boris Johnson could also have lied to her?
Well, I thank the Honourable Lady. Actually, no, I don't believe he did.
So, on the Politics Live show yesterday, when the question of can we afford tax cuts, she again just reminded everybody of the state of the country. The Chancellor is currently saying that there won't be any tax cuts, but this is just purely smoke and mirrors. It will be their ace in the hole, so to speak. At a final budget just before the general election, they'll go, oh look, we told you we couldn't afford any tax cuts, but here you go. It's the same old trick they pull every single election, and it will be just them trying to claim that they're decent with money, when in reality, they can't afford the tax cuts. Public services are on the knees. We have the highest tax rate since World War II, and people don't need to be reminded what happened a year ago when they tried this trick without being accosted. But don't let me steal her thunder. Here she is telling it how it is.
So I find it, it's not really news. Jeremy Hunt was always going to end up this way, and the Tories have sort of dilly-dallied around the idea that they might have tax cuts because people in their pie, at the moment, they're constantly just fighting with themselves, and people like Craig, who has a perfectly legitimate and conservative view about tax cuts, have been pushing the Chancellor on it. But I think blaming an ageing population and the sort of COVID and all this, the Tories have been in power for 13 years of stagnant growth, which is why we are struggling to bring in tax receipts enough to fund public services properly and or give out money if that was, as it is, Craig's desire. And the idea that we didn't know there was going to be an ageing population at this next budget.
I'm astonished if Labour doesn't put up taxes.
The question being of who is going to be lower in tax. What I tell you is what the Labour Party says before the election is, and what it stands on its manifesto, it will stick to, unlike the Tories, we have the highest tax burden of 70 years under the Tories. So they like to go and say, I really hate taxes, whilst whacking up everybody's taxes all over the country. I mean, read it and weep. The country has lost faith in them to manage anything fiscally. I mean, like I say, we are a year on from the calamity of Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng, which cost everybody in our country dearly for many reasons. And it was all because they wanted to be all like, we're the best Conservatives, have some cash.
Let's just, finally, for the record, will Labour cut taxes if they win the next election?
The Labour Party will present all of its tax plans. Oh. OK, so you're going to cut taxes now, the Tories?
I would like us to cut taxes, because that is a growth agenda.
The Labour Party will present but the Labour Party has already presented how it will tax more fairly, and it will make sure that people like, for example, as she was, Rishi Sunak's wife was a non-dom, that those people are paying fair taxes in the country where they live.
Craig McKinley was also on the panel, and he's calling for these tax cuts. It's nice to see the Conservative Party fighting each other over their ideologies. And if you want to see a bit more blue on blue, then you'll need to watch the video that's on screen now. Don't forget to hit the like button. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.